Children, this video is part 2 voices. Do you remember what we learned in the first video? Yes, we learned that there are two ways in which we describe an action performed by the subject in relation with the object. First is active voice, where subject performs an action and object receives the action. Sentence structure is subject, action, and object. Second is passive voice, in where an action is performed on the object by the subject, and the structure is object, action, and subject. Object plus helping verb plus third form of the verb plus by plus subject. So remember it properly. See the example. Mayank repaired my car. What will be the answer? My car was repaired by Mayank. 5 steps are here to change active voice into passive voice. Very simple steps are there. Very first, see subject and main verb in any sentence. Second, swap subject with the object and object with the subject. Third thing, convert the main verb into the third form of the verb. Fourth step, add a proper helping verb before the main verb. And fifth is, add preposition by before the subject. So at the end, the sentence structure of passive voice will be object plus helping verb plus third form of the verb plus by plus subject. So these are the very simple 5 steps which you have to follow while changing active voice into passive voice. When replacing the subject, which is a pronoun, to object, the conversion will be like this. I change into me, he changes into him, she changes into her, we changes into us, and they changes into them. We need to add a proper helping verb to be before the main verb. This helping verb is decided based on tenses. So here we are taking an example of write. Now see the table of the tenses. In very first tense, simple present tense. In active voice, we use verb write and writes. And in passive voice, it will become we use helping verb is, am, are, and the third form of the verb write is written. Then second tense is present continuous tense. In active voice, we will use is, am, are, writing. And while changing into passive voice, what we write is, am, are, be verb, being, being, and the third form of the verb, that is written. In present perfect tense, in active voice, we use has or have written, and while changing into passive voice, what we write? Has or have been written. Then we will take simple past tense. In simple past tense, we always use second form of the verb. So we write wrote in active voice, and while changing into passive voice, we will write was, were, written. Then past continuous tense. In active voice, we will use was and were and writing. And while changing into passive voice, what we write? Was, were, then being, then written. In past perfect tense, in active voice, we write had written. And while changing into passive voice, what we write? Had been written. Then simple future tense. In active voice, we will use will, write, and in passive voice, what we write? Will be written. Then we will take future perfect tense. In future perfect tense, we use in active voice will have written, and while changing into passive voice, what we write? Will have been written. Now you must have noticed that we don't use four tenses while converting active voice into passive voice. Present perfect continuous tense, or we can say progressive tense, past perfect continuous tense, then future perfect continuous tense, future continuous tense, and the sentences which have intransitive